Hi. Today, if I finish the project today, I'm going to show you how to make a folding knife from start to finish without using a forge. I've already made one video on making a friction folding knife. That was a learning experience for me. It was the first time I'd ever made one. I did learn a lot from it, and now using what I learnt from making that one, I'm going to make another one and see how this one turns out. A little better than the other one, hopefully. This one will have a brand new blade that I'm going to make. In the other one I used a second-hand blade from a knife and just cut it and made it fit. This one's going to be made from scratch. I got some patterns of some folding knives off the net and printed it out. I used the paper printout and placed it on top of an ice cream lid and used an awl to push down through the outline of the knife blade. This obviously showed well on the plastic ice cream lid afterwards, and I was able to cut that out. And I'm using both the cutout itself and where it was cut out of the lid as a pattern. Where it was cut out of the lid, I've placed that on the steel, and I've used a stylus to actually cut around, to actually make a mark, score a mark around, which draws the blade on the steel. The other part that I cut out, the plastic part, I've marked on there where the actual swivel pin goes in, where the blade actually hinges on. And so I can mark that onto the blade afterwards with a centre punch as well and put it exactly where it should be. These are original French 18th century clasp knife designs, so hopefully this one will turn out looking much like an original. Okay, we'll give it a start. Here you can see the plastic ice cream lid that I used. This is the stylus. Okay. If you don't have a stylus, you could use the sharp edge on a chisel screwdriver, a chisel tip screwdriver, or you could use a nail. But if you've got a proper stylus, then this is better to use. I drew around this pattern onto the steel, and this one, as you can see, has got a dot here where the hinge pin will be going, and that I will mark onto the steel with a centre punch later on. I'm using a skill blade. If you've got a second-hand one, by all means use that. I would if I had one. This is a new one that's been in its packet for a long time, and I decided I would use that, as I don't have any electric, or I don't have many electric things that I can actually use this on. I've got one saw that I could use it on, but frankly I don't use it very much, so it's pointless me keeping these. This is a cold chisel. A cold chisel is used for cutting steel when it's cold, as in not cutting it when it's hot out of the forge. And that is what I'm going to use to cut the blade out of this saw blade. Okay. You need a good sized club hammer. This is my club hammer, and that's what I'll be using today. Okay, as you can see, I've just got a piece of railway iron here, my cold chisel, and with the stylus, I've already marked out on the blade where I want where I want the blade to go on here. And I have already been round once with the cold chisel last night, but it was too dark to use the video, so I've still got to finish doing it anyway. So I'll now show you how we go. Just move around and don't try to use a too big a cold chisel for the job. Try not to go over any marks because it will weaken it. Very careful doing this. You can use this same method for reshaping the heads on shovels. You know, after they get worn. I had a banjo shovel. It was badly worn, and I cut a new head out of it yesterday by reshaping it with the same method, and I used a slightly bigger chisel. Okay, we go all the way around with this, and we just keep cutting. We have to go around again, but we just keep going until we manage to cut it out. I've swapped over to slightly broader chip chisel here because it's no good for the corners because I can't get around fine enough. But for the straight parts, it covers a bit more ground. It's a better chisel. The other one's made in Japan and it's not so crash hot, but it works. Now I have to go back to the corner. I have to come around that corner. And I'm coming into a corner here, around a curve. I'm wearing gloves because this saw blade is pretty sharp, and it also takes a bit of the shock out of it. And if you can see that, it's coming along fine. If you can see that top part up here, that sticks up, that will have to be heated and bent over. That is what stops the blade from going all the way up. This will be bent over and it will come up against the handle of the actual knife, and it'll stop the blade from going any further. Okay. Now you can see how the chisel is actually, I haven't pulled that, the chisel has actually gone through and forced that apart as it cuts it out. Okay, we've been to that end, so now all I've got to do is the lower edge of the blade, the cutting edge. Okay.